Welcome to Biff's Mystery Theater. I have many tales to tell you. Ghost stories, murder stories, and tales that will make your bones chill. Join me, won't you? For Theater of the Mind, where you always have the best seat in the house. Now close your eyes and turn off the lights.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Come in, settle down and listen, for we're about to tell you a very important story. Have you ever looked at your children and wondered, what in the world are they thinking? What goes on in those tiny minds? You don't know, do you? Admit it, you haven't the faintest idea. Yet you were once a child, so why don't you know? I'll tell you why. You have forgotten, and try as you will, you simply cannot remember what it was like to be a child. I don't know the reason for this, but perhaps it's because being a child is not always the happy thing we think it is.
Didn't you mind being shut up in that dark room, Bobby? All by yourself for such a long time?
Was it a long time?
3 weeks.
Is that a long time?
What did you do, Bobby, all alone there?
Oh, listen to the silence. Talk to the dark.
Our mystery drama, The Secret Life of Bobby Deland, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Elspeth Eric and stars Michael Tolan. We said earlier that this story is an important one, not because our small hero is an important figure. A boy of 10? How much time has he had to achieve importance in our world? No, we call our story important because it is our attempt to explore the inner life of one small child. An attempt which we admit may be awkward and incomplete because we have grown up, and in growing up, grown stupid.
All right now, children, playtime's over. Everybody inside. Go with Miss Hamill and Mr. Garth. Now we can talk better. Well, Mr. Collins, have you finally made up your mind about adoption?
I don't know that we want to go that far, Mrs. Appleton. Not just yet. You see, I thought if my wife and I could take one of the children home for a month, 2 months, see how it worked out. You see, our son died in an automobile accident a year ago. And Mrs. Carlin hasn't been really right since. Depressed, migraine, headaches, spends a good deal of time in bed. And I thought if there were a boy around the house, it might help her. Help me, too.
You've been here several times. You've met all our children.
There's one. I believe his name is Bobby. About 10 years old.
Bobby Deland?
That's the one. I looked for him today when I was walking around the playground. I didn't see him. He's still here, isn't he?
Bobby's still here.
Oh, thank goodness. He's such an unusual boy. I'm surprised he wasn't asked for before this.
He was. Last year. It didn't work out.
Can you tell me why?
I can do better than that. I have a tape of the interview with the lady who tried to give him a home. It's a practice here to make tapes of the conversations with prospective parents. It saves confusion, possible embarrassment later, if there's trouble. Oh, you're being taped right this minute, Mr. Carlin. I hope you don't mind.
No, not at all.
Now, look, I won't play it all for you, just the part that concerns us now.
And we did everything we could think of to make Bobby happy, Mrs. Appleton. He seemed happy. There wasn't any way we could guess that he didn't like it with us. And then to wake up one morning and he was gone. Simply gone.
I'm sure you did everything you could.
Oh, we did. And he seemed to like us. Of course, he's naturally so sweet, so good. Except for the stealing.
The what? The stealing?
Oh, look, I shouldn't call it stealing. We'd find little things missing. Little nothings. Once it was a frying pan. A wooden spoon one time. Oh, we found them later. In his room. Once he took the belt from one of my dresses. A leather belt. Not that I cared.
That's enough of that. But I should tell you, Bobby's been guilty of petty pilferage like that here at the orphanage. A hairbrush belonging to one of the teachers. And
Where did he go when he ran away?
well, the police found him that same night, wandering along a country road. There was a full moon. They had no trouble. And when the woman came to pick him up, he wouldn't talk to her. Wouldn't even see her. Didn't seem to hold anything against her. He just said it was no use.
No use?
It's what he always says.
Before?
Several times during the last couple of years. Look, I'm telling you all this to let you know that if you take Bobby into your home, you're not getting the usual child.
No child is the usual child, Mrs. Appleton.
Well, shall we go and have a talk with him? See how he feels about all this?
By all means.
Oh, I should tell you, Bobby's in confinement.
You don't mean solitary
He's confined to one room without lights or windows. I know that sounds severe, but
It does.
we've tried everything else. Even corporal punishment, though that's prohibited by law. It didn't do any good. He doesn't seem to feel it.
How long has he been confined?
Oh, nearly 3 weeks now.
Mrs. Appleton, 24 days is supposed to be the limit before the victim goes mad. That's been established in prisons with grown men. Bobby's a boy.
A most unusual boy. Shall we go talk to him?
Please.
This way.
Mrs. Appleton, may I ask you, what is Bobby being punished for? What did he do?
Oh, didn't I tell you? He ran away from the orphanage. That's the only thing he ever needs to be punished for. Running away.
Mrs. Appleton, when Bobby ran away from here, was it at night?
Middle of the night, as near as we could tell. Oh, here we are.
Was there a full moon that night?
I don't recall. Does it matter?
It might.
Oh, here's my key. Bobby? It's Mrs. Appleton, Bobby.
Yes, Mrs. Appleton.
He's all right.
You can come out now, Bobby. The door's open. Can you see?
Yes, I can see Mrs. Appleton.
Does the light bother your eyes?
Not very much.
You remember Mr. Carlin, Bobby.
It's nice to see you.
I'm very well, Bobby. Thank you.
I'm going back to the office now, and you two can have a nice talk.
Thank you.
You can join me there later, Mr. Carlin.
Well, Bobby, I'm pleased you remember me. Didn't you mind being shut up in that dark room all by yourself for such a long time?
Was it a long time?
3 weeks.
Is that a long time?
What did you do all alone in there?
Oh, I listened to the silence. Talked to the dark.
I see. Would you like to come and stay with me and my wife for a while? See if you'll like it. We have a big house.
A very big house?
Well, pretty big.
With servants?
We have servants, yes.
And beautiful gardens and a big green lawn?
Well, does it matter if it's a big house with a lawn?
A big white house.
And servants, does that matter?
I don't know. I thought it did. I could sort of see it.
Well, what do you say? Would you like to visit with us for a while?
I think I would.
There's a good school nearby if you'd like to go.
I'm tired of memorizing things.
Well, whatever you say. Now, why don't you go pack some clothes, and I'll go see Mrs. Appleton in her office and make the arrangements.
Come in.
Mrs. Appleton, that's a remarkable child.
Oh, close the door, will you, Mr. Collin?
Oh, yes.
You've persuaded him?
I'm convinced the reason Bobby can endure, even enjoy 3 weeks of confinement is because he's able to hypnotize himself. And not only hypnotize himself, but put himself into a deep trance. Almost anyone can be hypnotized, but only 1 in 20 can hypnotize himself. And I've never heard of anyone who could put himself into a deep trance state.
Well, supposing he can, what's the advantage of it?
Why, it means that he can reach his unconscious mind and perhaps unite it with his consciousness. A terribly difficult thing to do. And to do it alone without any outside help, I never thought it was possible.
Well, supposing he can do whatever it is you say he can, what of it?
Mrs. Appleton, do you know what powers are locked in the unconscious? What forces, what instinctive knowledge, primitive memories?
I've always thought of the subconscious as an untidy mass of very unpleasant emotions.
It is untidy. But we've been taught the emotions are unpleasant because they lack morality and purpose, as indeed they do. Their only purpose being to express themselves.
Most of us manage to live without expressing ourselves, Mr. Collin.
Yes, but supposing you find one solitary human being who refuses to live that way.
You mean Bobby? Well, Mr. Collin, if he's willing to go with you and you want him, I've checked you out and everything's in order. Oh, one thing, Mr. Collin, I hope you're not going to talk to Bobby about his mother.
Why not? Why shouldn't he talk about his mother if he wants to?
Well, it's not really healthy in his case. He makes up outrageous stories about her.
Such as what?
Oh, that she was fantastically beautiful, that she married into royalty, a prince or a duke.
Oh, children often fantasize that way.
Last year he told us that she was a movie star, imagine.
Who was she really?
Oh, just a poor, pathetic woman on relief. I found that out from our records. I wasn't here when she brought him, but that was 6 years ago. He was only 4.
They're unpleasant.
The records say she simply couldn't afford to keep him.
She's never been back?
Never been back. Never called to see how he was getting along. Never sent him a present or even written him a note. Come in. Oh, Bobby. All packed to go home with Mr. Collin?
He has a big white house, Mrs. Appleton, with a big lawn and flowers and lots of servants. Haven't you, Mr. Carlin?
Yes.
I'm sorry about your wife.
What? What about my wife?
I'm sorry she's so unhappy. Didn't you tell me she's unhappy and sick sometimes?
I don't think I did.
You must have. Or how would I know?
Do we really know only what we've been told? Or what we've read? Or heard? I hate to believe that, because then each of us is only a jumbled mass of information. And very often, we go about spreading this jumbled information for others to pick up and repeat. No wonder the world is in such a turmoil, if all we know is what we've been told by people who only know what they've been told, who only know what... Oh, no, there must be more. We can't go on this way. However, having no solution at hand, I shall return shortly with Act 2. When one adopts a boy 10 years old, It is not only the 10-year-old boy who has been taken into the new home. It is also the boy who was once 9, once 8, once 7, and so on. Clear back to the day an infant was born. And these early years are unknown, utterly unknown to the new parents. Just how unknown they are to the child is the subject of our story.
We're almost there, Bobby.
I know.
You know?
Well, I figured.
You mean you felt it, that we were almost there?
Something like that, I guess.
Mental telepathy, maybe?
What's that?
Well, thought transference. I was thinking to myself, we're almost home, and the thought transferred itself to your mind. Is that what happened?
I wasn't thinking about anything at all.
It's when we're not thinking about anything at all that the thoughts of other people enter our minds.
I'd like to think about that.
Well?
I think that's very true what you said, Mr. Carlin. It's when you're not thinking about anything at all. That's when the good things happen.
What good things, Bobby?
Oh, all the good things. Mr. Carlin, you should have turned right there.
No, that's Birch Tree Road. We live on a
You
street...
should have turned there. Go back.
Hey, Bobby, take it easy.
Go back.
Bobby, I know where I live, and I know how to get there. Your telepathy wasn't in good working order that time. Now, here is where we turn. To the left. We go about a quarter of a mile up this road, and then we're there.
It's pretty.
Is it what you expected?
Kind of. It smells nice.
You smell something?
It smells sweet. Very, very sweet.
I don't smell anything. Oh, we're coming to the privet hedge. That's the sweet smell. Imagine you picking it up way back there. Now we're coming to the house.
It is white.
I told you it was.
And there's a lawn in front with flowers.
I told you there would be. Well, here we are.
But it's not a very big house.
It has 16 rooms.
And where are all the servants?
Did you sleep well in your new room, Bobby?
Yes, I did. It's a very nice room.
Nicer than the orphanage?
That was nice. But this is nicer.
This morning, Bobby, I want to take you to meet my wife. Her name is Anita, if you want to call her that. I think I should tell you she gets migraine headaches from time to time.
I know. I knew she was sick sometimes. I think she's sick now.
No, she's not. I saw her this morning. She was fine. Come on, let's go upstairs.
Okay. It's not very nice to be sick like that, is it?
No, it certainly is not.
I used to have asthma. That was terrible.
What did you used to do about it?
Oh, I made it stop.
Made it stop? Just like that?
Sort of. It was a long time ago.
Here we are. Anita, may we come in, dear? Come on. Anita, this is Bobby.
Go away, please.
She's sick.
My dear, is it another migraine?
Please. I can't.
Bobby, we'd better come back later.
She's sick.
You'll meet her tomorrow. Come on.
Mrs. Carlin, I'm here. I know how much it hurts, but I want you to know I'm here. And I want it to stop hurting.
Please.
Try to look at me, Mrs. Carlin.
Bobby, don't. When she's like this, it's no use.
I want you to give me your headache, Mrs. Carlin. I want you to give it to me. Look, Mrs. Carlin. Anita, look. Give me your headache. I want to take it away from you. I'm going to take it away from you. Do you hear me? I'm going to take it. You're going to give it to me. I'm going to take it. Yes, I'm taking it. You're giving it to me. You're giving me your headache, aren't you? Yes, you are. I know you are. Please give it to me. All of it. Yes. Oh, please. Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. It's gone. All on.
Bobby, where are you going?
It's all right. All right.
Bobby?
I couldn't help Mr. Carlin. I had to throw up.
Well, that's all right, son. That's all right.
How is Mrs. Carlin?
She says her headache is gone.
Yes. Of course it's gone. She gave it to me.
And how are you?
I think I'm going to be all right pretty soon. I never knew before what a migraine headache was like. Now I know.
Mrs. Appleton speaking.
This is George Carlin, Mrs. Appleton. I've got great news for you.
Everything's working out?
3 weeks now, and everything's going wonderfully. He seems very happy here, and heaven knows he's made us happy. My wife hasn't had another headache since that time I wrote you about when Bobby cured her.
You think he really did?
Well, he did something to Mrs. Carlin. Perhaps he hypnotized her, I don't know. But her headache stopped. I was there. I saw it happen.
Well, I have to take your word for it, Mr. Carlin. Has he stolen anything that you know of?
No, I don't think so.
Well, you'd better check.
There's a belt of mine missing, but I'm sure I must have mislaid it.
Look in his room.
No, I wouldn't dream of doing that. The boy is happy here, and we're happy having him here.
Has he talked about his mother?
No, he hasn't mentioned her.
Well, my advice is to keep it that way.
I don't think I agree with that, Mrs. Appleton.
You know what I told you. All you'll get from him is a lot of wild fantasy.
At this point, I feel I'd like to hear anything Bobby cares to tell me.
Well, if you don't want to take my advice...
No, it's not that, Mrs. Appleton. It's that for the time being, I'd sort of like to follow my own instincts. You understand?
I suppose so.
I'll keep in touch with you.
Please do, and good luck to you.
Thank you. Oh, Bobby, I didn't hear you come in. That was Mrs. Appleton I was talking to on the phone.
How is she?
She's fine. Do you miss her?
Not too much.
Bobby, you know that black-tooled leather belt of mine?
Yes, I know that belt.
I can't find it. Have you seen it?
It's in my room.
Well, did I leave it there, do you think?
I don't know. I don't think so.
By any chance, Bobby, did you take it out of my room?
I guess I did. I'm pretty sure I did. You want me to go get it?
Oh, you can have it if you really want it. Only I'd rather you'd ask me instead of just taking it.
But I don't want it.
No?
It's too big for me. Why would I want it?
I don't know.
I just saw it, and it reminded me of something.
Reminded you of what?
I was going to give it back to you. I didn't mean to keep it. I didn't even want it.
All right now. It's all right. Just put it back in my room when you get a chance, will you?
I'll put it right back now.
No, in the morning we'll be all right. Bobby, do you ever feel you want to talk to me about your mother?
My mother?
Do you remember her at all? I know you were only 4 when she left you at the orphanage.
She was very, very beautiful.
What else?
I'm not supposed to talk about my mother.
Well, don't you want to?
Not now, Mr. Carlin.
All right. But if you ever want to, I'm here, you know.
I know.
George? George? Oh, what are you doing up? Can't you sleep?
Not for hours.
Oh, the moon is so bright, I don't wonder.
No, it's not just the moon. I was thinking about Bobby.
Oh, funny. I was thinking about him, too.
I talked to Mrs. Appleton this afternoon. She asked me, did Bobby ever talk about his mother?
He never does.
That's what I told her. And she said, fine, keep it that way. But I said I didn't agree, that I thought he should talk about whatever he felt like talking about.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Bobby came into the room about that time, and I brought up the subject of his mother. And all he'd say was, she was very, very, very beautiful.
That's all?
I tried to get him to go on, but he just clammed up, said I'm not supposed to talk about her.
Mrs. Appleton probably told him not to.
She has a point in a way. She says Bobby makes up wild stories about his mother, whom he hasn't seen or even heard from in 6 years.
You mean since he was 4?
That's right. But he tells people, or used to, that she had dozens of admirers, finally married some title gent, became a movie star.
Oh, George. Our children often do that.
Another thing, Mrs. Appleton asked me if Bobby had snitched anything. And I told her about my black tooled leather belt. Then when Bobby came in, I asked him had he seen it, and right away he said yes, it was in his room.
Really?
I asked him if he'd taken it, and he said he guessed he must have. Did I want it back? It was too big for him anyway.
Oh, isn't that peculiar?
You know, I told you the woman who took him last year said he snitched silly things. A frying pan, a wooden spoon, a belt off one of her dresses.
Oh. Now, I wonder if that's where our little frying pan disappeared to. They were asking me in the kitchen if I'd seen it.
What, there's a frying pan missing?
Heavens, George, we have about 12 frying pans of assorted sizes.
Is there anything else missing?
No, nothing else. Oh. Well, unless you want to say one of my shoes is missing.
One of your shoes?
Those high-heeled things. I've given up high heels, and I put those out to give away. And next time I looked, there was only one. Must have gotten thrown out. Goodness, it would take one shoe.
Who would throw away one shoe?
Oh, George. Look, come on back to bed. Maybe you can get to sleep.
Yeah, maybe.
That damn moon wasn't so bright. Shines right across the bed. Why don't you pull the curtains?
You know what? It's a full moon.
Well, pull the curtains and come to bed. Can you see, or do you want a light on?
Oh, I can see. What was that?
What was what?
Didn't you hear a door close?
What door?
It sounded like downstairs. There he goes.
Bobby?
Yes, and there's a full moon.
Oh, George.
Like before.
Call him back. Go after him, George.
No, I don't think I'm going to do that.
Well, for heaven's sakes, why not? You can't just let him go wandering around all by himself.
No, I don't think he's going to be just wandering around.
You think he's going someplace in particular?
Yes.
Where?
I don't know. And I don't think he knows either. But someplace.
As we are all going someplace. We don't know where, and there is no one who knows to tell us where. Yet very deep in our minds, or our hearts, or our tormented souls, we know we are going someplace. We can't see ahead, and it does no good to look back. We can only trudge on down the road to someplace. I'll be back shortly with Act 3. The full moon with which Act 2 ended has been wiped out now by the exploratory colors of the rising sun. And steadily down a winding road trudges a small boy, 10 years of age, steadily, purposefully, toward a destination he could not name were you to ask him. It is Bobby Deland. The thin little boy's arms start to wave wildly as a truck approaches.
Stop! Please! Please stop!
What's up, kid?
Could you give me a lift?
How far are you going?
I don't know exactly. Down the road a ways.
Come on, get in. Here, let me give you a hand. That's a pretty big step up.
I can do it.
What you doing out at this hour? It's hardly daylight.
I have to go see somebody.
You expected?
Yes, I'm expected. I didn't say when, though.
Going to see your folks?
My mother.
Oh, your mother. Then I guess you know where she's at.
Somewhere along this road.
No number? No name? Like on a mailbox?
I'll know when we get there.
You've been there before, I guess.
It's a great big white house with a big green lawn and flowers.
I think I know the place you mean.
And lots of servants.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is. See? Right there. Stop. I want to get out. Stop the truck.
I'll stop. And don't jump. Hold on. I'm stopping. Now, wait a second, kid.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Hey! You hadn't ought to go in there. Hey, you know what you're doing? You hadn't ought to...
That's it. That's the house. This is the lawn. There are the flowers. But where are the servants? Where's my mother?
You want to sit here, Baroness? Under this tree? That all right? I'll fetch you some coffee, and I'll be right back.
Excuse me. Are you my mother's maid?
Yes, I am.
Will you tell her I've come to see her, please? If she feels well enough to see me.
What's your name?
Bobby Deland. Would you tell my mother?
And how did you get in here, Bobby?
Somebody dropped me off. Before. I'd been waiting till I saw all the servants come out of the house. Now, please, I'd like to see my mother.
You mean that lady over there?
Yes, my mother.
Oh, I'm afraid that's not your mother, dear. That's the Baroness Hortha.
Well, her name before was Mrs. Deland. Please tell her I want to see her. Oh, never mind.
Oh, hold on now, just a minute.
Let go. Let me
Not
go.
so fast, young man.
Let go of me.
Miss Copeland, what's going on?
Oh, it's this boy. He wandered in here. He wants to talk to the Baroness. He's her son, he says.
Well, then let him.
Should I, Doctor?
Why not? He may succeed where we failed. Go ahead, my boy.
Thank you. Hello, Mother. I'm here.
Hello, Mrs. Appleton? George Carlin. I wanted to tell you Bobby's been found. Thank you for not calling the police. Well, you know, I told you I saw him leave the house. I simply followed him in my car. It wasn't hard, so don't worry. What's that? Well, I don't think that's necessary, but if you want to... Look, can't you tell me over the phone? Well, all right. No, I'm not at home. I'm at the place where I found Bobby. It's on Birch Tree Road, not too far from where I live. A big white house, very big. Big lawn out in front. It's the Wesley Sanitarium. You know it? Well, I'm with Dr. Wesley right now. All right, we'll expect you. Mrs. Appleton's coming over, if that's all right, Doctor.
Perfectly all right.
She wants to tell me something, show me something. I don't know what.
Tell me, Mr. Carlin, what made you think Bobby might come here?
It was just a guess. But when I brought him home from the orphanage, he wanted to turn onto Birch Tree Road.
Did he say why?
He thought it was the road my house is on. Not that it had ever been at my house. All he knew about my house was that it was big and white, had a lawn with flowers and servants. He knew that because I told him. And I told him because he specifically asked.
It seemed important to him, did it?
Very. I was puzzled at that because he's not a snobbish sort of boy, quite the contrary. That insistence on a lot of servants. Now I begin to understand. Your sanitarium does have a lot of servants, as well as a lawn and flowers.
But the boy's never seen the sanitarium, has he?
He hasn't even seen his mother since the age of 4.
Then how would he know?
I suppose that when you dream about a certain person for such a long time and fantasize about that person the way he did about his mother...
What sort of fantasies?
Oh, wild ones. That she was much admired, much sought after, that she married into royalty, became a movie star.
Hold on there. She did marry into royalty.
You don't mean she's really a baroness?
Yes, indeed. The Baroness Hortha.
Well, I thought that baroness stuff was, part of her dementia.
The Baron brought her here. The Baron pays her bills. He's not very high up in the royal lists, but he's a baron, nevertheless.
The boy couldn't have known that. No more than he could have known Birch Tree Road.
Now, about her becoming a movie star, The Baron told us that she made a motion picture a few years ago. Actually, that's where he met her. He put up the money. She starred in it.
Well, that's impossible, isn't it? Someone would have known, seen the picture, recognized her.
I don't know who saw the picture, Mr. Carlin. It was a pornographic film.
No.
The Baron has made a good bit of money on pornographic films, I'm told.
She made the film?
Starred in it.
She married the Baron?
He's devoted to her.
Well, then what happened?
About a year ago, she became severely depressed. It went further, into melancholia. Finally, she became very nearly catatonic, and he brought her here. She won't talk to him when he comes to see her. She's never spoken to any of us.
It was about a year ago, as I understand it, that Bobby began to talk about a big white house with a lawn and gardens, and a lot of servants. Could he have known that she'd been brought here? To a place he'd never seen, didn't even know existed?
It's a rare person who has a faculty to sense what is going on. But if there is a great affinity between two people, I suppose a telepathic communication is, well, it's possible.
Was there such an affinity between Bobby and his mother? After all, she abandoned him when he was 4 and never communicated with him after that.
Communicated with him? I'd say by all the evidence she communicated with him the whole time they were apart. She may not have known she was communicating, but her son was, on the face of it, so sensitively attuned to her and her existence, he could pick up waves that emanated from her that she knew nothing about. Come in.
Dr. Wesley, I hope I did the right thing.
What's that?
Well, I left the little boy with the Baroness. Is that all right?
I think so. The Baroness has never shown the slightest sign of being violent. Quite the contrary.
Well, she does seem interested in him. I mean, she looks at him.
Sounds like progress to me.
So then I should just leave them together?
Where are they?
In her room.
I'd say leave them together. But leave the door open.
Yes, Doctor.
It will be astounding if she recognizes him, accepts him. It could mean she's on her way back.
Dr. Wesley, this faculty you talk about, this rare ability to sense things, what is it?
It doesn't have a name. Anyway, not a name that appears in scientific journals, but some clairvoyants have it, some mystics have it, some saints, I suppose. Many poets have it. It's an ability to reach far into oneself, to make contact. Do you know the poem called The Labyrinth? W.H. Auden wrote it. There are 4 lines from it that I quote to myself all the time. The center that I cannot find is known to my unconscious mind. I have no reason to despair because I am already there. Nice, isn't it?
What does it mean?
Oh, come, Mr. Carlin. You know very well what it means.
That if we only go deep enough into ourselves, we will find the center that will stabilize us? Is that it? Give us peace? Is that it?
The peace that passeth all understanding, because I'm afraid understanding has very little to do with it.
To think that a 4-year-old boy could hold fast to the image of his mother through all those years.
What else had he to hold fast to?
And then find her by his own effort.
Which only proves again, Mr. Carlin, we get what we want if we want it enough. Come in.
Mrs. Appleton.
I got here as soon as I could.
Mrs. Appleton, Dr. Wesley.
Please sit down, Mrs. Appleton.
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Now, the boy's all right, Mrs. Appleton. You're not to worry.
He's with his mother.
His mother?
He found her here, Mrs. Appleton. She's the reason for his running away all those times.
Mr. Carlin, Dr. Wesley, I brought something to show you. Something for you to hear.
And what is that?
Well, when you called me last night, Mr. Carlin, I was so upset. Everything had been going so well, and then
to have him run away again. Well, anyway, I couldn't get back to sleep. So I went down to the basement and I rummaged around among the old files and I found this.
A tape?
Yes. We keep tapes at the orphanage of all the interviews we have with prospective parents and with the people who leave their children for adoption. Well, this tape, this one goes back 6 years before I came to the orphanage. And it's a tape of... Oh, is it all right if I use this machine, Doctor?
Oh, yes, go right ahead.
All right. Now, I'll just play you the part towards the end. It's the tape they had running when Mrs. Deland came to leave Bobby.
You gotta take him or I'll kill him. Look, I'm a cheap prostitute. I live in one room. I have to send the kid out to play in the street while I'm conducting my business. Now, how long can I go on telling him it's his Uncle Charlie I got up in my room? And another thing, I haven't got the greatest disposition in the world. And when I'm hungover, when my head hurts, I go crazy and I'm liable to hit him. And not just hit him. I'll hit him with anything that's handy. Yesterday, I hit him with my shoe. With the heel. My shoe. A spiked heel this high. And it doesn't have to be a shoe. I'll pick up anything and hit him with it. A frying pan. The belt off my dress. Anything that's handy.
Well, I wanted you to hear that, Mr. Carlin, because you said that Bobby had taken a belt at your house, and the woman last year said he took a frying pan.
He took a shoe of my wife's.
I think we'd better go see if everything's all right. Come with me. He's right down the hall.
How in the world did his mother come to be here?
It's a long story, Mrs. Appleton.
Well, how did he know she was here?
That's an even longer story.
Here we are.
Is he in there with her?
Yes. Be quiet.
I brought you some presents, Mother. Look. Here's a belt. And here's a frying pan. And here's a shoe. See, Mother? They're for you. With my love.
Mothers of the world, rejoice, for you are loved. Of course, in the human nature of things, you are simultaneously hated, and by the same person. For no emotion as powerful as love can flourish unadulterated. Side by side with love goes hate. It is, you might say, a package deal. I'll be back shortly. Isn't our real life lived within ourselves? The posturing we do in full view of others, what is that but the antic behavior of a poor clown who needs to be applauded? The exterior life is really only incidental, yet we expend all our energy on it, while the interior life is left to its own devices, as though deeply ashamed of it. We wish to disown it. Our cast included Michael Tolan, Marion Seldes, Martha Greenhouse, Hetty Galen, and Gilbert Mack. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown.
This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
I'm E.G. Marshall. Honor thy father and thy mother, we are told. And since this is a commandment, it stands to reason that honoring Dad and Mom was not something that ancient and primitive people were prone to do. And so, it's possible to understand why the offspring of our ancestors might not be kindly disposed toward their parents. After all, it was common practice to sell one's children into slavery, or yield them to the enemy as hostages, or sacrifice them to the gods. Yes, children in ancient times truly had grievances. But the children of today, the adored, indulged children of our time, why do so many show so little honor or even respect for Dad and Mother? Where did we go wrong?
I'm afraid I don't understand what you're saying.
I am saying we are the head of an army.
An army?
Yes, a revolutionary army. We will soon take over the whole country.
What's the purpose of the revolution?
To create a new society.
How will it be different from what we have now?
To begin with, there'll be no place in it for men like you.
And when does this revolution begin?
Right now. And you have an historic place in it.
What's that?
You will be the first one to be officially executed.
I'd just as soon waive that honor, if you don't mind.
Stand still.
Our mystery drama, The Primrose Path, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Sam Dan and stars Mason Adams and Rosemary Rice. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser. I'll be back shortly with Act One. They make a nice-looking couple, Marianne Mellon and Jeffrey Pollard. They look like typical students in this large university town. Typical students out on a typical date. Let's see. They've taken in a movie, and now Jeffrey has parked in front of Sparkles, a popular hamburger hangout. Suddenly, two young men appear, seemingly out of nowhere. They wear stocking masks, making identification impossible. One flings open the car door on the driver's side and drags Jeffrey out of the automobile.
Hey, what do you think you're doing?
Shut up and you won't get hurt.
What do you mean I won't get hurt?
Hey, I tossed him out of the way, Zipper. I'm holding on to her. You don't have to kill him. Let's get out of here.
Help, somebody!
Get behind the wheel, Zipper. Right, that's right.
Why isn't something being done?
Now, Mr. Mellon, everything is being done.
There are no results.
The entire city police force and the FBI has come in.
Where is my daughter?
Sir, you must be reasonable.
Why? Why should I be reasonable, Inspector?
We are doing all we can.
It's not good enough.
I know you're upset.
You're paid to preserve law and order.
I have some questions, Mr. Mellon. Has there been any attempt...
You exist for the sole purpose of apprehending criminals.
Has there been any attempt to contact you?
No. They tried to contact me, wouldn't I have reported it?
Well, sir, it's just that it's been 3 days since
These animals. They think they can break me down.
We asked for a list of all your daughter's friends.
Why? You believe some of her friends may have kidnapped her?
We're only trying to discover...
I've already told you about her friends.
Have you told us about all of them?
Now, see here, Inspector.
Were any of them jealous? Did she have any enemies?
My daughter?
Kidnappings are usually planned, Mr. Mellon, and very often there's some inside connivance. Now, could one of your servants have overheard your daughter and Jeffrey Pollard make plans for the evening?
But you may have traitors among your workers. I have none in mine.
How would the kidnappers know they'd be parked at that hamburger joint?
How would they know? Well, I ask you, Inspector. Where else do young people end the evening in this town?
Who would want to harm your daughter?
You have a one-track mind, and it leads nowhere. My daughter is the sweetest, most generous child. So gentle, so sensitive. She's not like so many of today's depraved young people. She's not a part of this drug-crazed, whatever they call it, culture.
Mr. Mellon, have you told us everything that might help?
I could talk to you about that child for hours. I remember she was 8 years old.
Yes, sir. Well, I don't think you'll be contacted by phone.
I bought her a dog. She called him Primrose.
Yes. You see, the kidnappers will expect it to be tapped.
He bit people. I wanted to have him destroyed, but she said, Daddy, let's send him up to the farm.
They'll have to get in touch with you to arrange for the ransom.
See, she felt...
As soon as you receive any communication at all, you must let us know. Is that clear, Mr. Mellon?
It's okay, Hammer. It's me, Jeff.
Hey, you sure nobody trailed you here?
I'm sure.
I still don't know about this joint for a hideout.
It's perfect. Who'd think to look for her on old Mellon's property? Relax.
I'm not supposed to relax. I'm Army Chief of Security.
This farmhouse it's been deserted for years. Nobody ever comes here.
Jesse? Jesse, baby.
Marianne, you're...
I'm okay, Jesse, baby. Okay. Jesse, you have to have a new name. As commanding officer general, I order you to get a new name. After all, man, you're a colonel in the blood of the People's Revolutionary Army.
That's the blood of the People's Advanced Revolutionary Army, baby.
Right on, Hammer. Right as rain, but you can't call me baby no more either. My name is Chris. Tell him what Chris means.
Now, Marianne, we have some serious matters.
Chris is a melee sword, and I took that name to demonstrate solidarity with our Pacific comrades.
Hey, Charlie, you shouldn't have given us so much.
His name isn't Charlie, it's Hammer.
Yeah, right on.
Hammer the hammer, smash away the rotten timbers that hold up this corrupt society. I want to go to sleep.
Marianne.
She's okay. Leave her alone.
I thought we agreed to keep her off that stuff.
We can't.
What do you mean we can't? It's poison for her.
Look, when she's off it too long, she wants to go home. She starts crying, I want my daddy.
She hates him. All this was her idea.
Well, you know dames. Now, look, how about the little...
Another couple of days.
Why wait?
Let her father think she's dead. Then when he finds out she's still alive, he'll be so grateful he'll even enjoy making the payoff.
Man, we picked right. You're just a cat to lead this army's psychological warfare.
Yes? Who? Mr. Mellon? The Arthur Mellon to see me?
Well, show him in.
Mr. Starrett?
Please, sit down, Mr. Mellon. What can I do for you?
I wish to retain your services.
For what purpose?
I want you to find my daughter.
You're not serious.
I have just given your receptionist a check for $10,000 as a retainer.
Mr. Mellon, I am just a lone private investigator.
I'm aware of that.
All the resources of the city police plus the federal government are working for you.
None of them has produced any results.
Well, now, what makes you think that I, all by myself, could do better?
I will give you some information that has not been released to the authorities.
Do you mean evidence that's been withheld? In that event, sir, I must inform you...
You're young, you're rash, you jump to conclusions. I did not say evidence. I said information.
What sort of information?
Information concerning the relationship between my daughter and me.
Yes?
Now, this is privileged. I didn't tell the police the truth.
Oh, now, wait. I can't be a party.
I told them she was an angel. I should have said a monster.
Why is she a monster?
Because her values, her morality, her ethics have become twisted, distorted, perverted by certain obscene elements that are permitted to flourish today in our society.
In what way?
I am a male chauvinist.
Well, aren't we all?
I am also a capitalist pig. Me, I am draining the heart's blood from my degraded and brutalized workers.
Well, are you?
I employ 978 people. There isn't one that doesn't own a house and a car. 2 cars.
Well, Mr. Mellon, you know how so many young people feel today.
He says I'm destroying the social fabric. What am I doing? I make plastics. Now, why should that bother anybody?
Mr. Mellon, what good does all this information do me?
She's become a radical. A violent radical. There were some bombings a while ago, the federal buildings downtown.
Hold on, sir. If you know that your daughter has bombed any of those buildings, you're an accessory. And when you tell me, I become an accessory, too.
I don't know that she did it.
What about Jeffrey Pollard?
Oh, he agrees with her about everything. He's studying for his master's degree in chemistry.
Are the police aware of that? Do they know there might be something significant in his being a chemist?
But I don't know for a fact that it's significant.
How does he support himself?
He works part-time in my factory.
The raw materials in a plastics factory, many of them, could also provide the raw materials for explosives.
Certainly, any fool knows that.
All right. How is all of this supposed to help me?
One night, I heard Jeff and Marianne talking about something called the blood of the People's Revolutionary Army.
Now, what kind of army is that?
Well, it's an army that's supposed to destroy our sick society. And she and Jeff have been talking about raising money to arm the poor and the oppressed.
I see.
What do you see?
It's kidnapping. It's arranged to gouge some money out of you.
Well, that's what it could very well be.
And that's why you need the police and the FBI. They have information on all these groups. What do you expect me to do?
What I couldn't expect them to do. Keep your mouth shut. I don't want it known that she's a part of the whole subversive crowd.
But those facts will have to come out.
Why? I want you to get to her somehow. Bring her home where I can talk some sense into her. And this whole business will just blow over.
How do you expect me to find her when the police and the FBI...
I have given you a lead. Jeffrey Pollard.
Jeffrey Pollard is an automatic suspect.
True. But the police have no real reason to assume he's guilty. And after a while, they'll relax their surveillance. You, on the other hand...
You're wasting your money.
I want my daughter.
What makes you think that you can talk sense into her?
Oh, this is a temporary madness. She's got too much good breeding. Too much of her father in her.
I still insist the police have a better chance.
If I tell the police what I've just told you, the whole world will see my daughter as a depraved, wanton psychotic. I'd rather see her dead first.
Mr. Mellon.
Find her. Quickly. Quietly.
But it isn't possible for me.
It is. You know what makes all things possible? Money. Here. I'll sign a check. Now you just write down your own figure.
That's quite a relationship between father and daughter. One thing we know, Mr. Mellon has unlimited confidence in the power of money. Anything, anybody is for sale, provided you add enough zeros to the check. Well, we'll have some spirited buying and selling when I return shortly with Act 2. All the world's a stage, said the great poet. And obviously the statement is so true that we tend to overlook it. So many of us are so busy playing a role so much at the time that it becomes difficult to determine just what our original motivations were, or even why. On the face of it, a wealthy young girl has been kidnapped. But the face, as we have seen, is a false one. So far, most of the principal characters in this story have already been caught in one lie or another.
You want to see me, Inspector Broom?
Starrett, why would Arthur Mellon visit your seedy office?
I admit I'm not in the high-rent district, but it's really not seedy.
Just answer the question, Starrett.
I'm not required to answer the question, Inspector.
That's right. And neither am I required to play ball with you when you need cooperation next time.
He engaged my services.
Why?
He isn't satisfied with yours.
Who does he think you are, Sherlock Holmes?
Inspector, what did you get from the eyewitnesses?
A migraine headache. 2 guys. appear to be young. They either were big and fat or short and thin. They were either wearing denims or slacks and jackets. They were dressed in either black, blue, green, or red.
The boyfriend?
Oh, Jeffrey Pollard, that's a clean kid. Says he didn't have to do it. He's going to marry her and get it all legally one day.
Yeah.
But we got a tail on him just in case.
Looks like it'll be a long, hot summer.
Followed by a long, cold winter. Do me a favor, Starrett.
Anything for a pal, Inspector.
If you should happen to find her, let us know, huh?
Mr. Mellon, I must know more about your daughter.
Why?
Because there must be a reason why she turned against you.
She never did. Well, maybe I didn't spend enough time with her after her mother died. And when her mother died, I was out of town on a business trip.
Well, what would that have to do with her?
I hate to speak ill of the dead. But her mother tried to poison the child's mind against me by saying I was neglecting the two of them, using business as an excuse.
Were you?
Look, I refused
You hire me. You pay me a fortune. But you refuse to help me. I want to know more about your daughter.
I bought her a dog. She was 8 or 10 at the time. She named him Primrose. He developed into a vicious brute.
Mr. Mellon.
He should have been killed. But she said, Daddy, he's a wild animal. He's frustrated. He needs to hunt. Send him to the farm. Up to the farm.
This doesn't help me.
It's how I remember my daughter. How she was. Her understanding. Her depth of character.
Did your daughter ever bring anyone around to the house that you didn't like?
There were a great many I disapproved of.
Now start with the ones you disapproved of the most.
Yeah, well, there were two in particular.
And what were their names?
I was never interested enough to find out. They'd come over with Jeffrey and sit around talking.
Describe them.
One was a very tall, huge man, about 25 or so, black hair. The other was somewhat smaller, very wiry, very blond.
And they would just sit around and talk?
Yes. Always appeared to be a lively kind of conversation. Well, except, seems to me that the big black-haired one never opened his mouth.
At all?
He struck me as a person who simply couldn't talk.
Hey, Mama.
Still alive and out of jail?
Barely.
What on the house?
Oh, no, never when I'm working.
Oh, what are you working on?
Look, can we go where it's just a little bit quieter?
Oh, step right into my parlor, said the spider. And I used to be a pretty good-looking spider, but that was before your time.
All right. Now tell me, what do you know about the blood of the People's Revolutionary Army?
You know the rules, Starrett. No info. That's how I make sure everybody loves me.
Yeah, because I love you, I want to do you a good turn. If that army ever met in your joint, you're accessory.
To what?
The Mellon kidnapping.
The name again?
The blood of the People's Revolutionary Army.
No.
Does it exist?
No. 3, 4 kids get together. They got a political party or an army.
The girl, Marianne Mellon, is she in any of these circles?
Haven't heard.
The boyfriend, Jeffrey Pollard.
No. But you see, they could have been in the closet waiting for the right time to come out.
A big black-haired guy.
The world seems full of big black-haired guys.
This one would have a kind of blondish sidekick. Black hair would come over more or less as a dummy.
Oh, he ain't a dummy.
No?
No. That's a zipper.
The zipper?
Yeah, he don't talk. The reason is, he says, is because if you keep your mouth zippered up, you'll never get in a jam. So his friends call him the zipper.
And what's his friend's name?
Blondie? I don't know. He never said. I never asked.
Did you ever see them with Marianne Mellon and Jeff Pollard?
I might, a couple of times.
A little foursome at the table? When was the last time you saw them together?
Last time. Oh, I remember. It was the night she was kidnapped.
You're sure?
I'm sure, because I read the paper the next morning, and I remember telling Papa, Why, those two were in the joint just a couple of hours before it happened.
You haven't seen Black Hair or Blondie since?
No? What's it all about?
It's about $100. Here.
What for?
To keep your mouth shut.
Oh, you know me, Starrett. I never talk.
Yes?
My name is Starrett. I'm a private investigator.
I've already told the police everything I know.
Have you?
Well, please, excuse me. You have no official capacity.
I have a pretty good unofficial capacity. I was retained by your prospective father-in-law.
Oh, all right, come in. All I know is what I told the police. We were parked in front of Sparkles. Suddenly the car door was flung open. A big guy dragged me out, slugged me. Then he and another fellow drove off with Mary Ann.
And you couldn't describe them?
Well, they wore stocking masks.
And their clothes?
Well, it all happened so fast.
You just weren't able to get a good look. And besides, you were practically in a state of shock.
Yes, that's exactly what I said to the police.
Oh, that's an excellent story. Sharp, clear, plausible.
What do you mean plausible? They were witnesses.
Yes, and what they saw was some excellently staged theater. 4 actors playing their parts to perfection.
Now, just a minute. You have no right to make these completely unfounded allegations. What? You're accusing me? You're accusing Mary Ann and me of staging this.
I must say, you catch on.
Get out of here. I don't care who hired you.
Who is the commander-in-chief of the Blood of the People's Revolutionary Army?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. So far, no harm has been done. Now, I know I'm on the right road, but I can't be more than just a couple of steps ahead of the cops and the FBI. And when they tumble, you're done.
This is preposterous.
You're telling me? Okay. You and Mary Ann, you probably believe you can start a People's Revolutionary Army.
Why do you persist in this kind of...
Zipper and Blondie. Now, these are just a couple of strong-arm hustlers. You think you'll see them after the old man coughs up the ransom, if he does? You think any of the dough will go for guns for the poor and the oppressed? It's the last you'll see of those two. You'll be left holding the big, empty sack. Or you'll be dead.
Are you manufacturing this fiction to justify a fee for Mr. Mellon?
Here, kid, my card. You're going to need help to get out of the jam. Call me.
Where you been all this time?
I'm being tailed. I have to be careful.
Did you shake him?
Yeah, finally. Now listen,
Jeffrey, Jeffrey, I want to go home. I just want to go home, back to my father.
Well, look, Mary Ann.
Okay, you'll feel better in just a minute, baby.
Jeffrey, what we're doing, this is crazy.
Baby, you're gonna feel it hit and take hold.
Who are we? To think we could start a revolution. The 4 of us, I
You'll
mean.
be fine again.
Nobody needs guns. Guns kill people.
Take that deep breath, baby. Go ahead. You're taking off.
Oh, right on.
Okay. Well, everybody listen to me for a minute. Mary Ann.
My name is Chris, remember?
Zipper, ham up, all of you, listen. We have to call it off.
Call it off? What are you talking about?
Somebody's wise to us. Somebody knows it's all staged.
Yeah?
And he was telling me he knows all about the Blood of the People's Advanced Revolutionary Army.
How could anybody know that name? Only the 4 of us.
Hey, what's all the noise and yelling about?
Who is this guy?
A private detective.
A private detective, huh? That means he must have put it all together himself. What's his angle?
He wants me to call it off.
Yeah?
Before it's too late.
A private detective, yeah. That means he must be the only one who knows.
He's the only one right now. But he says he can't be more than a couple of steps ahead of the cops and the FBI.
Okay, who is this guy?
Does it matter?
Sure it matters. We don't want to kill the wrong pig.
What do you mean, kill?
That's how it is. But what? We expect to kill, don't we?
Yes.
He could end the movement right now, couldn't he?
Well, but you...
Isn't that enough reason? What, are you a sometime liberal or something?
No.
Did you join the revolutionary movement just because you thought it was hip? Come on, man. We got to take a vote. All in favor of killing this pig now. Signifying the usual way by raising your right fist. All right, mine's up. So's the Zipper. How about you, Chris?
Baby, you can't break an egg in an omelet without making eggs or something like that.
The blood of the people's court of revolutionary justice is spoken.
We killed a pig. What's his name?
Start.
How would you like to be tried in absentia and be unaware of the charges against you, and also be oblivious to the fact that a trial is being held in the first place? You'd be surprised, but this kind of thing is de rigueur in so many parts of the world. Well, justice of a sort will be done when I return shortly with Act 3. As our society becomes ever more complex and sophisticated, it becomes ever more fragile. A mere handful of people may hold an entire city at their mercy. All it takes is a knowledge of where the vulnerable spots are. And so we face the danger of attack by any small group, at any time, from any quarter. Is this to be part of the price we pay for civilization?
But how? How should we kill him?
Shoot him.
Who's going to do it?
The only fair way. Draw cards.
Well,
You know a better way. Okay, Zipper, hand me the deck. You want to shuffle? Go ahead, cut.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. High man's the gunner. Zipper, what are you gun? That's right. Chris?
You can't ask Marianne.
How many times I have to tell you, man, the name's Chris.
But we can't ask her.
Hand me a card, Hammerman. Ooh, what is it? I can't even see.
It's a 9. Okay, I'll draw. Hey, you're off the hook, baby. I got a 10. Okay, Jeffrey.
But I couldn't kill anybody.
For the people. Draw. Oh, hey, man, will you look at that? The old lady herself, the Queen of Spades.
Hey, you won.
But what am I... How am I going to...
Give him a revolver, Zipper, the 38. Now, all you got to do is get to him. When he's alone, at home, in his office. You just walk up and you shoot him. Shoot him. That's right. Don't say nothing. Don't fool around. Just shoot.
But I can't.
Baby, you gotta do it.
Hello?
Mr. Starr?
Who is this?
Would like to see you.
Why?
Well, it's a confidential matter.
The office is closed.
Well, this is important. Could you meet me there in a half an hour? I'll make it worth your while.
Hello? Hello? Half hour, huh? Maybe I better be early. Come in. It's open. Now, let's turn on a light and see who you are. Well, I thought your voice sounded familiar. It's Jeffrey.
Don't shoot.
Of course not. And look what's on the floor. A gun.
Yes, it's mine.
Yours?
Yes, it must have slipped out of my pocket when you jumped me.
Is that a fact?
Yeah.
Well, I must be seeing things. I thought that gun was in your hand. In any event, what are you doing with a gun?
Well, ever since that night, I decided I needed to protect myself.
Yes, permit me to extract the cartridges. And now, you may have it. And don't hurt yourself. Now, tell me, why are we here?
Well, I know you suspect me of being part of a plot to kidnap Marianne. I have to clear my name. Besides, you can't prove anything.
If I can't prove anything, why should you care what I think?
Well, no one likes to be accused unjustly.
But I'm accusing you justly. And here's the rest of it. You came here to kill me.
Oh, no.
You're no good at this business, Zipper or Blondie.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You've been seen with Zipper and Blondie. At any rate, either one of them may have had a better chance. Now, why did they send you? Well, maybe they figured I'd kill you in self-defense. One mouth less to feed when the pie is sliced up, right?
You have this hallucination.
We're getting close to pie time, aren't we? Sooner or later, the old man will be asked to cough up how much?
There's nothing I can say to you.
I know the story, the whole story. But I don't have a single shred of proof, or you'd be in the cooler this minute. Now, look. Let me help you.
I don't need any help.
You're in over your head. You had noble, lofty motives, but now you have to play dirty, and you don't have the stomach for it.
Is there any way I can convince you?
We're past that. You have to convince yourself. The thing is all over. It's just a hustle for dough. Now let me help you.
Why do you insist I need help?
Where are you holding her? I can pick her up. Nobody gets hurt. We'll even pay off Zipper and Blondie to keep their mouths shut. We can work out a heroic rescue tale for the press. You can't get a better deal.
You don't know what you're talking about. Goodbye, Mr. Starr.
I'll help you in spite of yourself. Better tell Blondie and Zipper you killed me.
You're crazy.
I don't know, Starrett. It's crazy.
You want the girl, Inspector. You want the kidnappers, and you can even have the credit.
But how can I give it out that you were found murdered tonight?
Why not? In a day or two, you can discover you were mistaken.
Why do you want anyone to think you were killed?
I have one lead. I have to protect it. If his friends find out he didn't kill me, he's dead.
Well, I hope you know what you're doing.
Do you have any better leads? Do you have any leads at all?
Yeah. All right.
Hey, it's a sword. Listen, I came back to tell you that
You don't have to tell us nothing. We heard it all on the radio.
What? Well, what did you hear?
He's dead. They just found his body. Starrett is dead.
They what?
Hey, man, you are now one of us.
But I...
Hey, how'd you do it? Okay. It ain't cool to talk about it. Look, you go inside and talk to Mary Ann and take this tape recorder. She's going to make a message to the old man.
But you...
Have her tell the old man that she's okay. $1 million, right? Small bills. 11 o'clock at night, behind a billboard at exit 9 on the turnpike. Anybody tries to follow, the girl gets it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. We got to move fast.
Oh, you got the tape recorder. Okay, groovy. I know just what I'm going to say.
Listen, we've been betrayed. It's no good. We have to get out of here.
Oh, man, we need $1 million to buy guns, arm the people.
Marianne, they're out and back working on the car. Let's make a run for it.
But they're our brothers, our blood brothers.
Try to understand. I know you're kind of spaced out, but try to understand. It's wrong. What we're doing is wrong. And these are just hoodlums.
But
it doesn't matter. We won't become revolutionaries or idealists. We'll just be common criminals.
No.
Now, let's get out of here before it's too late.
I guess it's too late right now. See, Zipper called my attention to something. He knows all about these things. This revolver hasn't been fired. What do you think of that?
I
Go ahead, smell it, look at it. Clean as a whistle. So, Starrett isn't dead. And the two of you're playing some kind of a game.
I couldn't go through with it.
What did you tell him?
Nothing.
And what's this about his being dead?
He's a private detective. He could have lots of enemies. Someone else could have killed him. It could be a coincidence.
Okay, man. You better be telling the truth.
Would I lie to a blood brother?
Yeah, sure. Zipper, keep a gun on him. And if the cops show up, make sure that he gets it. Okay, Chris, baby, the ransom tape.
The tape?
Yeah, go ahead. Now talk into the recorder.
Don't do it, Marianne. They'll only kill us both when they get the money.
Talk, baby. Talk.
Daddy, I feel so bad.
Cut it. Look, tell him you feel great.
Daddy, I feel great. I feel like I felt when Primrose was sent away.
But we're not going to raise money for a revolution. Don't you see, Marianne?
Zipper, he opens his mouth one more time. Plug him now.
No, don't hurt Jeffrey. Please don't.
Okay. And start over and talk into that thing.
Oh, I have to get my head together. Daddy, I feel great. I haven't felt this good since Primrose. Since, well, these gentlemen, they're very nice and...
They want $1 million.
It's an outrage.
And they
to deliver the $1 million.
Sorry, don't they know you're dead?
Must have gone wrong.
To deliver $1 million behind the billboard at exit 9 of the turnpike. Please do it, Daddy. I haven't felt so good since Primrose went away. Now you know how good I feel. He has to do it tomorrow at 11 o'clock. I love you, Daddy, dear.
$1 million. And why do they want you to deliver it? Tell me, Starrett, are you in league with these people?
Hold it, Mr. Mellon.
Inspector, he may have made earlier contact and arranged it all to be able to share in the loot.
Mr. Mellon, you're crazy. I acted on information you had given me.
What information?
It's privileged, Inspector.
Starrett?
Don't you dare.
This is a kidnapping.
It's all surmise on Mellon's part. He thinks the thing was rigged by Mary Ann, Jeff, and two friends, Zipper and Blondie.
Why?
Ask him.
Well,
it just seemed likely. That's why. I have no proof.
what are you going to do about the ransom demand?
I'm going to pay it. He can deliver it. I want my daughter.
Okay, Starrett. We'll tail you.
They picked the right place. It's all wide open country. You can see a car coming for miles.
Helicopter.
They could spot them, too.
All right, we'll come as close as we can.
Let me listen to that tape again.
I haven't felt so good since Primrose went away.
Why did she say that? Why bring up an old dog?
Well, you can hear she sounds a bit stoned.
She's trying to tell us something. What?
Okay. I'll stay here with our friend Zipper, and you go for the money. And when Mr. Starrett steps out of that car, you shoot him.
Why? Why do you have to kill him now?
The radio news says he's dead. You don't want the radio to lie, do you?
All right, Starrett. This is Broom. We've arranged for a utility truck to repair a pole 100 yards off the exit. The men will be cops.
Is old man Mellon in the car with you?
Yeah.
Good. Now, first, radio your guys who are doing the utility pole act to bag Zipper. It'd have to be Zipper as soon as he shows up. Blondie will be back at the farm holding the gun on.
What farm?
Ask Mellon how we get to his old farmhouse.
Marianne, wake up.
I'm so tired. Oh, why am I so tired? Why do I want to sleep all the time?
Marianne, they're going to kill us.
No, they won't. They can't kill us. Nobody can kill us. My daddy is coming. He's going to save me.
Your daddy. Nobody can help us. Nobody knows where we are.
My daddy knows.
How? How does he know?
Because I told him.
You told him? How?
My head, it's spinning all around.
Marianne, how did you tell him?
Oh, the whole room is spinning.
How did you tell him?
Oh, I said something on the tape. I remember I said something.
Okay, folks. I just saw the car coming across the field. That means the Zipper has the loot. And we say goodbye in more ways than one.
You don't have to kill us.
No hard feelings. Sure, come on in, Zipper. We have to polish these two off.
That's enough out of you.
Looks
like the whole army's being disbanded.
Daddy, I knew you'd understand.
Marianne, you all right?
Daddy, I knew you'd get the message about Primrose.
Primrose?
Sure, he got it. He got it in a flash the minute he heard it. And he said, boys, the reason she managed to say how happy she was about Primrose is that she wanted me to remember how we sent our old dog up to the farmhouse. The old farmhouse. He said, boys, that's where she's being held.
Oh, Daddy, you're wonderful.
Thank you, Starrett. Thank you.
Starrett was so astounded at being thanked that he almost forgot to cash his check. Marianne and Jeffrey were held on technical charges of attempted extortion. But since Arthur Mellon refused to prosecute, they were freed. I regret to say that Hammer and the Zipper also went free in the end, since their silence was necessary to keep the world from knowing certain facts about Marianne. But justice, as you know, is blind, very often. I shall find my way back here in just a few moments. The children of today, who are they? It's a generation unlike any the world has ever seen. A generation raised to consider miracles as commonplace, everyday events. And the children struggle and strike out and amaze us and trouble us. And there are times when we fear they will even destroy us. But one day they grow up and become just like us. Our cast included Mason Adams, Rosemary Rice, Ken Harvey, Ian Martin, and Jack Grimes. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
It's not so easy to end everything. Not easy at all. And maybe that's my last message to the world. If you think ending it all is a snap, you better think again and think hard, because that's what it is, hard. It isn't just slipping out of the world the way you slip out of a room at a party you found boring. Why don't I feel something? Drowsiness or wooziness or something. I never felt so clear-headed in my life. I ought to feel something. I didn't even eat the second cracker. Didn't eat any breakfast, no lunch. I ought to feel something. Oh, Lord. They're not going to trick me up on this, too. Not the last gesture of my life. They're not going to make this ridiculous, too. Like everything else, they're not going to make me a failure in this, too. I won't stand for that. I won't.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by all state insurance companies. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.